His phone beeped again with more notifications. These people just dey find who dey go carry join body as referrals. If you dey do task wey dey pay you $5, why you go like make people plenty come dey follow you do the task, come dey reduce the money wey you suppose get? Abeg. His character of talking to himself popping up. Ignoring the phone and rolling onto his side, Jake allowed himself a thought of the good times between him and Thelma. He couldn't help but let a smile brush through his face. He thought of the way Thelma requests for his opinion on nearly everything that she does. Clothes to wear, what to cook, planning her day, and most especially anytime she wants to change her hairstyle. Not that he knows much about some of these subjects, but somehow, Thelma has a way of getting clarity anytime she discusses it with him. For instance, all the hairstyles that she has plaited since they moved into the new lodge, she'd always want to know what Jake thinks of each before and after. It always made Jake feel so important. He remembered her walking into his room that afternoon with her head tilted to one side and lips almost pouted. He was on his bed looking through his chart when she approached him with that "Boo, I need your attention" face. She has this adorable and attractive way of acting like a baby most times they are together. That afternoon was one of those beautiful ones. "Jake, I don't know which hair I will make. This one is old and I want to make new one." Her voice almost 5 years old. "Oh, I see. Do you have any type in mind?" he asked her, dropping his phone on the mattress as he sat up to face her. "Or is there a particular way you'd like to look with a new hairstyle?" "I don't know. Seriously, I'm confused right now." She was already sitting next to him, her voice still the same. "There are just so many I'm seeing out there. In fact, come, let me show you the types a friend of mine sent to me, and also some I saw online." Jake, without hesitation, followed her into her room. Inside now, she pulled close her handbag that was on her reading table and produced her phone from the side. Jake had already logged out of his chat so as not to be distracted. As usual, he intends nothing to distract him from attending to her needs, no matter how long it might take. They both lay down on her bed, side by side. She swiped open the gallery of her phone, the thumbnails of different hairstyles flooding the screen of her Android phone. A gaze on the uncountable hairstyle overwhelmed Jake immediately, but a choice needs to be made. "I collected these three from my friend in River State." She selected the first thumbnail and the entire screen morphed into a full picture of a ponytail hairstyle. Scrolling through the first three, she continued. "She sent them to me on WhatsApp." "Okay. Do you like any of them?" Jake inquired, hoping that a quick choice might be arrived at soon. "I don't know. Wait first, let me show you others." She swiped left repeatedly, revealing more hairstyles. "These are ones I downloaded from Google." Shifting her attention from the phone screen to Jake, she asked, "Which of them do you think is better? Which of them would you like to see me make?" I think..." Jake looked puzzled and clueless, as he always did anytime Thelma inquires his opinion on subjects he knew nothing about, and hairstyle was one of them. I think these ones from Google are nice, hoping he'd made a fair choice. See Jake sef, that's your choice? Her voice shifting instantly from babyish to normal now, an indication that Jake has chosen one of those that she was not even considering. I was thinking of these ones that my friend sent to me, she continued. Look at them now. This one you chose is one of those I downloaded from Google. Those ones are high class and a bit complex to make. Who would be able to make them around here? Besides, where do I get the money to make this type of hair? Please, focus on these ones. She scrolled up to the first 3 styles. This first one is catchy. What do you think? She told Jake. Okay, he replied. Why do you think no salon here can make those ones you got from Google? Because I know, she replied with a sharp and curt voice, her eyes steady on the screen of her phone. You know you do not make hair. We girls can access a salon and can tell their capacity when it comes to making a complex hairstyle. You don't know that. It's not your field. Jake felt a tinge of humiliation in her words and couldn't help thinking to himself, why ask me then if you already know all these things? Then, to shift the discussion to another subject, he moved his attention to his noisy tummy, brushing his hair with his palm all the way down to his face. I think I'm hungry. Keep thinking. Thelma has already opened her WhatsApp, having made up her mind on the first picture and closed the gallery. She had also shifted away from Jake to a much larger space on the bed. Anyway, I want to cook egusi soup, but that will be later this evening. Are you using fish or meat? He asked, trying to lighten the moment in his mind. Besides, Jake always prefers fish over meat in any soup. I think I'll use meat. Dropping the phone on the bed, she stood up and made for the kitchen. Within seconds of her entering the kitchen, her WhatsApp notification beeped. Jake instinctively glanced at the screen of the phone to see a familiar name appear momentarily on the notification bar. The message simply read, "Alright, talk to you when you are back." Jake brushed aside the creeping thoughts and stood up to head to his room. It's 3:30. You will need to start preparing now so that we don't waste time. Let me enter my room and prepare. He knew that it would be both of them that will be going to that market. Like a norm between them. They've always gone together, and this evening won't be an exception. Jake may not really know much about hairstyle and a bunch of other female-related subjects, but his intuition and advice are more valuable to her whenever it involves money. Thelma has a knack for buying things that are not really necessary, and that's where Jake comes in very, very handy. Best part of it is that she knows this very well, and that's why she'd request his opinion on whatever food items she'd want to buy. She seeks his opinion on how much meat to purchase, whether to grind 1 cup or 1.5 cup of melon, if ugu leaf is preferable to bitter leaf, whether to buy plantain or save the money, and Jake knew that in all these cases, what he advises is what she would do. However, right now, as much as he knows that they would likely spend a lot of time in the market, he just hoped that she won't spend more time than necessary making up her face. I hope you won't spend too much time in front of that your mirror and will now go to the market in the evening. She giggled lightly from the kitchen. That's why I have you now. Seriously, start preparing now so you have enough time for makeup. With that, he picked up his phone and made for the door. Over his shoulder, he could hear her still giggling from the kitchen, and he does like to hear her laugh. The thought of those moments weeks ago made him feel more pains, and he couldn't help pulling himself out of it. Just then, he heard Amaka's footsteps as she entered her room. Jake couldn't help admonishing himself about being careful with his female friends. Every girl, actually. He thought to himself that he got too involved with Thelma, and it left him so vulnerable and unguarded. He wondered what he'd gotten wrong that lacked the attraction and fondness Thelma had for him. Was he too close to her? Was it a wrong idea both of them living in the same lodge? He couldn't stop blaming the idea that they spent too much time together. Too much familiarity brings, well, whatever it brings, losing affection was part of it. But then, Jake has always believed that closeness creates bonds. As much as the whole familiarity thing kept nagging on his mind, Jake understands himself as someone whose affection grows more and more for the girl he spends more time with. Experience has taught him that. He sometimes wondered if his feelings and how it develops for a girl is in contrast to the usual, but there was something of bliss he always perceived about it. Amaka, who moments ago went inside her room, came back out and pushed open into Jake's room. His door is always open, except for the twist handle. Jake, we've decided to roast the plantain like that, even though it won't be enough. Her voice was calm, a clear resemblance of how calm she too is. Close to Jake's bed now, she knelt on the edge as Jake pulled himself to sit up. Hope you will eat, she asked him in a way that shows she understands that he wasn't in the best emotional state. Jake has admired Amaka's sense of control and calmness right from the hostel. As she was kneeling on his bed, he tried to brush off the naughty ideas already creeping into his mind. Perhaps things would have been quite easier and more interesting with you, Amaka, he thought to himself, admiring her straight legs neatly stretching down from her black bomb shorts, the light complexion of her spotless laps assuring him of how soft she would be to touch. Then, without warning, the naughty ideas rushed back in his head as he began to imagine. Then, she kneels on my bed, her bare laps beckoning on my palms for a stroke. Oh my goodness, what a slender waist. Then she will advance close, so close that I can feel the hairs of my chest rubbing on her thighs. My palm already in the inner soft part, perhaps soft on the chest too. Boy, haven't we had this conversation about being careful around girls? His memory jolted him back to reality, and he rolled his already climbing eyes away from her flat tummy, just visible under her short, draping singlet. Yeah, you're right. Yes, I'll eat plantain. Okay, I'll get back so that I will finish roasting it. She stood up to leave. Wait, Jake called, having fully gathered his thoughts to the present. Do you know why Thelma left? She turned around to face him, gradually approaching his bed again. The hesitation in her voice obvious. Then she decided. She says she doesn't like being a burden on someone. A burden? Jake weighed the thought of clarifying on that, but thought against it. time has long gone when he gave a damn about what Thelma thinks or how she feels. Moreover, he knew that the event of last few minutes predisposed him into reacting in a manner that is not of him. He wouldn't refuse anyone food or not be reasonable enough to understand the point both girls are making. Besides, he wouldn't want Amaka to see him from a different angle. He knew he had to make up for it. Anyway, can I suggest something? Yeah, sure. She sat on the edge of the bed. How about beans and plantain instead as a dinner? Amaka seemed to give the idea a moment to sink, and then she replied, "Wow, that's a good idea. Let me tell Thelma." She sprang from the bed, almost out of the room. Then, like icing the cake, Jake added, "And I'll cook," irresistibly rolling his eyes all over her laps and hips once again, unaware of Amaka's interest in him. "Wow, that'd be great." She closed the door behind her. It would be a matter of time before she would strip him down with seduction. She's already thinking about it.